Wow. Good evening. I'm Glenda Carlin, and this is our Tuesday night A Course of Miracles and Tibetan Buddhist Zoom gathering. Welcome, welcome. There's God Lynn, there's God Ed, God Jerry, God Angela, God Danelle, God Dee, God Debbie, and God Glenda, and all those that listen to this later in this year and then in 100 years from now, if the internet's still going, if the world's not blown up by then. Oh, oh man. Yes, but welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you, thank you, thank you for coming out. I truly, truly appreciate it. I love each and every one of you and appreciate and I bow to the Buddha in each of you. I bow to the Christ that's in each of you, which is the same as your God nature. And I think I kind of wrote in the email, but anymore almost every day I kind of get humbled or I'll go, whoa, wait a minute. Like Ed just brought up about the clear light. When I see the clear light and then I feel the clear light, the great ray come in, and I'll stop and go, wow, that's God's presence. That's God. God is imminently right here, right now. But because of cluttered judgmental thoughts, veil that, and or I'm thinking about something else without sitting and being feeling resting in the beingness. I'm not aware. That's why the course in Tibetan Buddhist and Dzogchen is teaching us to cultivate this capital A awareness, the capital A plus awareness. This awareness is not the ordinary two-eyed awareness that looks out and sees a separate subject out there and an I, me, looking. That is totally transcended to this single eye vision that looks out, and that's really Holy Spirit in your Buddha, Christ, God nature that looks out and sees itself. It sees its clear light, its purity. Its purity is so pure, that's why it's clear, not cluttered by elaborations or images or thoughts. But at the same time, like if you look at the full screen of all these tiles, when we're awakened and realize this is all a magic show, that these images don't exist, they're fleeting and coming and going, we still see the images, but we know the reality is the clear light. And these are it's a hologram of just fleeting, vibrating light particles coming and going. That's awakened state. It's not like, um, well, I feel like there's no head. Awareness, this just total spaciousness, clearness, this purity that just sees itself. You see through the seer to be free. You see through that dualistic two-ness to be free. And how we do that is well, wait, we're deconditioning the habitual mind that looks out and sees the two-ness. And first we do it by just our thoughts, by practicing the course or Dzogchen truths or chanting these truths, where it talks about the clear light radiance. These images are just adornments on clear light radiance, or just reflexive radiance of clear light mind. Just it's trying to say in a bunch of different ways that these images are coming and going. They're not permanent. And we want to make something permanent that's impermanent, and that causes our suffering. We want it to be permanent. We don't want stuff to die. No, no, it's permanent. We don't want stuff to go away because we're doing the opposite. That's our ignorant awareness of the habits of trying to hold on to all this stuff. And you get rope burn because you're holding on to these thoughts and images and gluing sentences and feelings together to make rosaries, to make a rope. And that rope, it's turning, it's moving, wanting to be, it naturally is released. But we're hanging on, so we get rope burn, and then you suffer. But picture thoughts, feelings, and emotions, they naturally will come and go because they're following the winds that are produced due to the great ray downward movement and then upward movement and the wind of the breath that produces a wind that naturally will carry these things away if we don't cling and push to them. While I was sitting here getting ready for tonight's teaching, I asked Holy Spirit to help me put these thoughts together in a way that's coherent. And what came to me was, what's different about the last month where I'm feeling the actualization or the fruits of the practice? I'm experiencing the fruits of practicing A Course in Miracles and Dzogchen. And that means I'm able to rest in beingness. I'm able to rest in the heart cave. And this goes back to that conversation I was having with Ed before I started the recording. That's why there's lessons in the Course, and there's prayers and mantras and chants and sutras that we read in Dzogchen, is we're getting that left, let's see, we're getting the right brain thinking mind deconditioned from just thinking these egoic kunis thoughts to the thoughts of union, of unison, of purity. But first you're thinking the thoughts, and then when you learn to pause and have the gap between thoughts, you get a gap, you get a pause where you can just be for a split second or maybe a few seconds. And then you're off again to the races. But then each time you remember to see the clear light in your brothers and sisters or somebody on TV, or you think of an image of a loved one or a family member, you stop to think of them as the clear light of spirit as they are. That gives you an opening, a gap to be, just to be. And you're unbeknownst to you, you're actually kind of resting in your naturalness, in that beingness, in that clear light. We do that. Oh, and by meditation of sky gazing, space mingling meditations, and doing trecha, that seeing through, being through, what Jesus calls advanced forgiveness, which he says, look beyond the flesh, beyond the body, to the clear light of spirit that's here. And that practice over and over and over again is helping that right thinking brain give up those conditioned habits, and you're making some new shallow little ruts of truth that are touching and opening up your left spiritual brain until finally the right and left brain are communicating together, and the spiritual mind, the spiritual brain, is communicating so much, then you think holy thoughts. Your thoughts get transformed. And it's all due because you're practicing. You're putting one foot in front of the other, and you're practicing. You're integrating these truths in your daily life. But I thought about what the hey is different in the last month. Well, what's different is the sleep mask. I've been wearing that sleep mask at night, or when I listen to a podcast or a CD, or when I meditate with a Zoom group. And then also, I've been listening to these CDs. They're called Lama Surya-Das's Dzogchen Meditation Training, a direct path for awakening to the radiant Buddha within. There's 6 discs in there. And I think you can go to Sounds True and there'll be a recording of it where it's not disc, but I have an old time CD player and this works for me. Is in these 6 discs, he explains the direct path for awakening. 6 CDs. I highly recommend it if it calls to you. So I've been listening and re-listening to these 6 CDs, in particular the last one. And also, I've been listening to a podcast of his called EP 77 called As It Is, Leaving It As It Is, over and over. And I don't mean to do it, but then I'll just wake up and it'll come to mind which one I'm going to listen to, then I'll listen to them with the sleep mask on. And it's like, and then what happens is I kind of learned, I just kind of lean back, take an in breath and an out breath. I just relax. And I feel like the teaching, because it's verbal, oral, I feel like it's going through both ears, just going through my ears. And it's called an oral transmission. If you relax, lean back and just relax, these transmissions, they go through these six senses, the thinking mind, all the sight, sound, smell, touch. They go all the pores of the body. It's your heart, all these chakras. That's why I really kind of love this Tibetan Buddhism, is that they have enlightened beings. They know their names, they've got pictures of them or sketches of them, people that have actually been enlightened to have these teachings, and they spread the teaching by teaching orally to their students, and it's from mouth to ear. But anyway, I've never listened to something like I'm now listening to these oral, to me, seem like oral instructions. They seem to be going deep into the cells, where then I can almost naturally practice seeing it as it is, leaving it as it is, be as is. Seeing as it is, what the hell does that mean? That means you're looking out, seeing the clear light of spirit that's here. Leaving it as is means you're not wanting to change anything, and I'm not talking about some life or death situation where you see a child about to run out in front of the car. You won't leave that like it is. You scream and you help the kid get out from the way to the front of the car. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about in general, leaving it as it is, not wanting to change something. And so that brings up, well, I may not be able to find the quote, but there was a Facebook post about um, by learning to leave things as they are, then what's happened, from I'm respond to my experience as it is, and as I am. I'm able to respond to my experience. And what's my experience? It's that this beingness is experiencing, living, and being inside Glinda's body and using these six senses of sight, sound, touch, taste to think about and feel what these forms are like, physical forms are like. It's experiencing beingness, is experiencing being in a physical form. It's feeling fullness. And it dawned on me why the Son God really did this was the the pure light in the absolute is so pure, it's like sterile. It's just so pure. How can you feel something when there's not pureness? You can't feel. So the Son of God figured a creative way of seeming to create something, but it really it doesn't exist. If he just extended a great ray and compresses the light on the downward movement, makes the physical seeming image out of vibrating light power, and on the upward motion, he liberates the form. And so it never really exists. Just in split seconds, these vibrating particles are coming and going, and are coming and going so fast they look kind of like a solid form. But with that looks like two-ness. But when we're awakened, it's not two-ness. There's no me, Glenda. There's no Ed. There's no Lynn, no Angela, no Jerry, Danelle, Debbie, or Dee. There's none of that. There's just this isness, this clear light that's streaming through everything, animating everything. You know it's a magic show. You're no longer distracted or entangled by these images. Yet you can experience them and enjoy them, but yet you know they don't exist. Now that's the difference. You've let go of your attachment to two-ness, belief in a separate self, and then need separate objects. And until that's done, you can't fully experience beingness. That's why I can now experience beingness, because before it's experienced in short moments, in short seconds, until enough obscurations are removed from the, it's called the mind body continuum. There's just spaciousness inside the skull, the head, the body, just spaciousness. Like quantum physics says, there's just space in between all these electrons and protons, and just all space. Well, that you actually feel it because because you've let go. You're letting thoughts, feelings, and sensations come and go. And you've let go of your past conditioning of belief in a separate self and separate objects, and your judgments on your loved ones, your neighbors, your politicians, your whatever, and on yourself. You've let go of those stories and those memories, and you've just let them go. And that brings a point up is because of this spaciousness that I'm experiencing, this beingness where it's sort, I just see it and I feel that the heart cave, the heart chakra is like in the middle of the chest. It sits real close to the solar plexus. But anyway, the heart chakra, the heart cave, it's called the heart cave. That is where the great ray ends up. It expands and contracts out of that heart cave combined with the breath. But that breath and energy is expanding and contracting out of that heart cave, um, in rhythm with the whole universe. You're breathing and expanding and contracting with the whole universe. It's not just you alone that's doing it, it's all in unison. But anyway, um, how to I'm experiencing this and living in this world is pretty unusual. I had to stop and kind of gather my thoughts because yesterday, and then there was another time last week, it was in the email, but I'll just deal with the thing yesterday. I'm on part of this condo board, and the two roofs are going to need to be replaced within 1 to 2 years, and that'll be a cost of about 450,000 to 650,000, depending on the cost of all this stuff and labor when it gets done. But there's various opinions. But I thought at the last board meeting, I thought the 5 board members had agreed to wait until we got from the insurance company that insures the property and including the roofs, of when they would send out an inspector and give us a report, because it's been coming the last 2 or 3 years. They've been talking about the age of the roof. It's a 30-year-old roof, but it's been maintained, and so it should have expired maybe 10 years ago, but it didn't. But now it's expiring. But the thing is, we hope to get 1 to 2 years notice so we can hire a consulting firm or get bids, etc. But the thing is, all of a sudden, I saw a fury of emails go through. We have a separate email addresses that all the board members communicate to each other with. And I saw a flurry of emails, and in the emails, it was talking about 2 of these board members had gotten 3 roofing companies to come out and inspect the roofs. And one of them, it appeared, was going to come out and do a scan of the roofs and charge $1,000. And I'm looking at these emails going, now hold it. We just had a board meeting and this was not on the agenda and didn't get discussed. What's going on here? Well, in my old, even 6 months ago, guys, because I take this job to heart about wanting to help my fellow condo owners and do the best I can and do it in a methodic way, right? And practicing the course in Dzogchen makes you real methodic, less reactive, more responsive. But when I started to see those emails, I took a breath and I thought about, whoa, I can't write a response myself. So I got my brother-in-law and sister who own a condo in the building to come help me. Long story short, we wrote an email and I sent it out about, I thought we were getting the cart before the horse. I thought there was going to be an inspection by the insurance company that would give us a time frame, and then we could have a board meeting, and then we could decide on a set amount, a maximum amount of fees to spend during the inspection phase. And then we would come to agreement who would be researching what, etc. Like step one, get the report. Step two, uh, step three, analyze. And I had three steps. Um, but when my sister and we got done, I was sitting at the table and we were talking, and I felt something I've never felt before. Behind my forehead, it was it was spacious, but what I felt was this whirling of thoughts and feelings were just whirling behind my forehead. Now, I've never experienced that. And when I sat with it later, what I realized what was occurring was due to all this spaciousness, it's called vast spaciousness and clearness that's uncluttered by thoughts. Because see, I got it down about if I can, awareness is so acute. If I judge something, man, I'm on it and I let it go and think of them as the clear light, or automatically thoughts and feelings just come and go, right? But it's a combination. They automatically come and go, but then other times, man, I'm judging something. Because I said a couple of weeks ago, I realize now there's hundreds of sensations going on in a second. The unconscious, all these six senses, sight, sounds, is all going on. But so you can bet that the thinking mind's going to grab onto something once in a while, especially if one of those real tantalizing family member judgments is showing up or whatever, or an expectation you got of a family member. But anyway, because of that spaciousness, wow, it was, the stuff was just whirling, just whirling. They left, and when I closed that door, I just stood there and I got my toolkit out. And the toolkit is these things we do when we realize we're entangled, we're caught up in thoughts and emotions. And so I stood there without moving my head. I flicked my eyes right to left, right to left, right to left, back, right to left. Ha ha, hee hee, ha ha, hee hee. It's like a windshield wiper. That I did that. Then I took three deep breaths. I got my whole toolkit out. Three deep breaths in and out, saying, ah. And then, gee whiz, I forget. Oh, tilting my eyes up. Oh, then I pictured each one of those board members and I saw through their image to the clear light of spirit that they are in a heartbeat, because I knew I was judging some of them, if not all of them. And it's so natural, it's just automatic. But anyway, and then I sat down at my laptop and I sent the email out. And as I sent the email out, then I went back. I sat here and I thought about those members and I saw through their image to the clear light of spirit that they were. And I asked Holy Spirit to help me see this clear light that they are. Now, see, this will happen just because we're awakening or get awakened doesn't mean we're going to not have some tough issues show up. It could be a health issue, could be a family issue, could be like what I just had experienced, um, uh, 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 something going on with this condo board, right? And then let's see. So the next morning, this picture now, I got notes because I want to find this. Page 3. Where's the motion quote? I want to get this. I open Facebook, and I find these posts that either explain what I'm experiencing, or they seem to give me an instruction on something I need to practice. That's the two things, the way these posts show up. This post to me was explaining what was happening. And I'm going to read it to you. And it was a Lama Surya Das Facebook post where he's quoting that holy enlightened being, Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche, this holy enlightened being, Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche, about emotions. And here's the whole quote: always stay alert, therefore, and watch what your mind is doing. Think about it. Over countless lifetimes, have you not been deluded, fallen under the power of your negative emotions, and as a result had to undergo, time and time again, the sufferings of birth, sickness, old age, and death? Yet still, you cling to samsara, that means hell, suffering, as if it were a happy place. And see, Jesus talks about that too. You think you're in the happy place, but you're in hell, in samsara. Okay, wait, here's it. Time and time again, the sufferings of birth, sickness, old age, and death. Yet still you cling to samsara as if it were a happy place. You take things that are impermanent to be permanent. You work frantically to amass possessions you will never be able to keep without ever being satisfied. Surely now it is high time to start observing your mind. Be aware of everything that arises in your mind immediately, as though watching your face in a mirror. Identify your emotions as the enemies that have spoiled your past lives and will spoil your future lives too if you fail to cut them at the root as soon as they appear. There's no emotion that you cannot be rid of, because emotions are simply thoughts. And thoughts are just like the wind moving through the sky, the empty sky. There's nothing to them. So I read that, I hand wrote it, I sat with it, and it really summarized, but I hadn't really ever put the word emotion with it, because seeing those flurry of emails and look like activities going on without board approval, my emotion rose. My feeling rose. Oh, I forgot to say, but even 6 months ago, I would have reacted. And how would I have reacted? I would have gone to the door of the president and banged on the door of that president, wanting to confront him about what the heck's he think he's doing without board approval. Now, see, that was not the right thing to do. Because see, that's called physically confront someone. You're like, you did this, and then they got to defend themselves. So, oh no way, Jose. I was going to, but these things came through my mind. The old Glenda, the old reactive person, and then also would have fired off an email without even, without sitting, breathing, thinking, considering, asking. Oh, I forgot to tell you, Holy Spirit, there were 4 of us doing this: my sister, brother in law, Holy Spirit, and me. Man, the enlightened beings were probably helping too. Get this, a response. See, that's a response. An email, that's a response, not a reaction. An email, then there was something else that came to me that I would have done in the olden days, even 6 months ago, maybe. So, what we're doing, we're moving, cultivating, or deconditioning the mind to where we're going from this reactive egoic behavior to this responsive Buddha nature. It responds, it takes a breath. It takes a pause, and it maybe you want to sleep on it. Maybe you want to count to 10 before you pull the trigger and do something, right? Oh, it's so practicing this, besides awakening, makes for a more pleasant lifetime, less suffering. I'm not suffering. Now, in the old, I would have been suffering. This would have been like emails going back and forth. I'm really having to apologize and say, "Oh, if I'd known better, I would have done better. I'm sorry, I came banging on your door. Here's what we can do." Backpedaling, which we do. when we're trying to reconcile something, right? That's some more, but we do what we need to do if in whatever the situation is, whatever happens, happens, and then we adapt, we're spontaneous, and we go again. Um, but we are getting so it's called where you're resting in beingness, where there's some peace and some calm that's showing up more and more often. Now, but me identifying that, cutting the root of the emotions. Identify your emotions as the enemies that spoiled your past lives. So that's why Jesus in Course of Miracles says, use your feelings to tell you which voice you're listening to. If I feel anxious, upset, irritated, angry, I'm listening to the wrong voice. I need to pause, step back, lean back, ask for help, and listen and listen for another voice. So this is called liberation. So see, what's happening is for the actualization of to feel the beingness in the heart cave, to rest there, to feel light and breath energy expanding and contracting. And while beingness is resting in the heart cave, is our natural state. Resting is our natural, and beingness in the clear light in Rigpa is our natural state. Is liberation from which comes due to cutting the root of dualism. And the root of dualism is truly the root of a separate self and separate objects. When that root is cut, then you're freed. You're freed to a more awakened awareness where you're aware of what you're doing while you're doing it. You're spontaneous in the moment. This moment, this breath, only moment, this breath, only breath. You're responding to the experience of your life as it is and as you are. But okay. Oh, now my birthday was Sunday, and I realized something I gave myself. Happy birthday to me. I tell everybody you got a birthday month, birthday day, you got a birthday week, you got a birthday month, you can have a birthday year. What the hey? So anyway, it came to me what present I was giving myself. And here's the present was I realized I'm giving myself a daily karmic cleanup. That's my present to myself. And I wrote myself a note, put it by my chair, giving myself a daily karmic cleanup. What the hey does that mean? Well, I'm not an original for this. I learned about this in one of Lama Surya Das's books, where now picture this man, as far as I understand it, is happy birthday, Glenda. Yeah. Thanks, Debbie. I don't know, he awakened in his 20s. It seems, I don't know exactly, but that means 40 years or more. This guy's been awake. And guess what? He teaches what I'm trying to teach is even though you're awake, we're going to have some negative emotions. We're going to have some negative thoughts. We're going to have some judgmental thoughts because all these sensations are going on. But what he does at the end of every day, I'm not kidding, this is what he wrote, one of these books, and he learned it from one of his holy gurus who was enlightened, okay, is now you can't take this, I apologize for, you can't take this literally for skin colors. We're just talking, like yin and yang is considered black and white where they merge and then you see the two together. But anyway, at the end of the day, he has like two little piles, two areas. One is for his positive healing things that he did that day is a white stone, a little white pebble, a little white stone. He puts that in a little pile, the white stone. And then he's honest with himself. When was he negative or had a judgmental thought or something? He has a little black stone. And he goes through his day assessing his day. Now, whoa, folks. it'll bring you to your knees sometimes because you go, shoot. Because then you start to even, because now this could look like intellectualizing, but it's not. Because these beings will ask you, just look back on your day and how much of the day were you actually awake? What percentage of the day were you awake, of present, aware of what you were doing while you were doing it? Just take a guess. Remember when I had the root canal, the retreatment on the root canal? I was laying in the chair and the guy's hands in my mouth, the video's going above and in front of me. And man, I was on it. I was on when I was seeing his hand or when I was seeing the video or when I was resting and in this what's called the great ever-present primordial emptiness. That's this clear light of God's presence, just resting in that. Other times I'd be leaned back in that dentist chair, resting in that car. Then I'd be thinking, oh, there's his hand. Now, still, I was in the moment. I saw his hand. I saw the video. I saw that. So there, but I was my percentage of other times when my mind wandered when I was in the chair, wasn't watching the video above, wasn't watching the video in front, or resting in beingness. It was in the past or the future. And I came up with, I was about 50-50. Well, that's okay. And see, this is not for a bad judgment. What this is we're cultivating awareness. We're cultivating honesty. We're no longer hiding and making things secret from ourselves, deluding ourselves. We're not beating ourselves up, but yet we're honest because unless we're honest, how can you improve about, well, I could be more present. Let me put a sticky note here around. I like to be present with what I'm doing while I'm doing it. Well, so what I was going to, so then that caused me to kind of then think about my karmic cleanup, to sit with the positive healing things I did that day and then any negative judgments. And then the negative ones, then I would take that person or event and I hold them in my mind, an image of them, and I see through their form to the clear light of spirit that they are. Now, you don't have to believe it, you just practice. But now I believe it, of course. It's clear light of spirit. And then I do, and I'm letting go, I'm healing. That's a karmic cleanup. So I'm not accumulating karma day to day. I'm trying to clean it up. That's my birthday present to me. Yeah. Now the biggest thing was on that same day, Sunday. That was a big birthday present that I felt naturally was given to me, was due to my practice of meditation, Treched, forgiveness, listen to these Dzogchen CDs and listening to podcasts about leaving it, seeing it as it is, leaving it as it is, be as is. They're called the four great flops, the four great leave it as it is. And the fruit of that is the actualization of this being able to be, it's called awareing or presencing, where you're aware you're in the presence of God's presence. God's presence is here right now. I'm presencing, I'm being with it. That's what our essence is, that same beingness. But anyway, that I was experiencing on Sunday and am still experiencing. It's not going away. Okay, I'm looking at my notes because I want to go back here. Oh, on Saturday, I just made notes here. On Saturday, in our Buddhist chants and mantras and prayers, it'll say, take refuge in the Buddha, take refuge in the Dharma, the truth, take refuge in the Sangha. That means this group of people. Refuge means rest until the full enlightenment. Because when you're fully enlightened or awakened, you're resting in this presence of God, right? That's what you're resting in. But before then, because we can't rest. We're not able to do that. I wasn't able to do it. Some may be able to, but you rest in the Buddha, you rest, which would be Jesus or Christ too. Rest in the Dharma or course teachings. There could be a course lesson that really touches your heart, or you rest in this group that supports you and loves you. The family that is the family out of love instead of the family out of birth. This support. But in these teachings, sometimes it'll talk about, but wait, it was in Lama Surya Das's book, Awakening the Buddha Within. I found this phrase, innermost secret refuge. Innermost secret refuge is God's presence. And see, I've read that book a few times, but until you're ready and on it, baby, for the words you need to, they're just touching you. But there it was. The innermost secret refuge is God's presence. And that's this clear light, which is the radiance of his purity. I gotta blow my nose, sorry. Okay. Oh, and then here's more notes. For the last 2 weeks, I've been woozy. These are kind of going backwards instead of starting from it. I was woozy, and I realized why I was woozy and had to be careful how I got up, how I walked around. Is what was happening is as I was giving up more and more, because these unconscious beliefs in a separate self, that I'm a body and you're a body and separate objects out there, run so deep that it just like the onion layers just keep getting unpeeled. You just keep letting go. And how you know you're still believing it is like when I watch TV and I silently say to myself, there's nothing to see and no one's seeing it. Can you say that when you're watching TV? And then can you stop and sit with what in the hell does that mean? There's nothing to see and no one's seeing anything. Well, that means there's nothing to see means there's no objects out there and no one's seeing anything if there's no me to see a separate object. Because to see a separate object, I have to be an I, has to be a me seeing something out there. When all this are projections from the mind that are just seem to be out there, but it's an illusion, delusion, magic show, hologram, like a dream. But so I've been keeping letting go due to meditation, sitting with leaving things as they are. So the big deal was uh leaving things as they are and not wanting to change things. Like that's the same kind of deal about expectations, wanting to change things, to let that go. That then I realize I'm letting go of that. If I wasn't thinking I was here, I wouldn't think they were there. So neither one of us exist. So I just kept letting go of that. But what was happening is I let go of these thoughts of separation. Guess what? These thoughts clutter up the inside of the mind and the inside of this body. And they clutter up the chakras. They clutter. So as I'm letting them go, guess what? There's open space where then that great ray light can come in and fill. But it had to do this more slowly because it was now filling so many cells. I was trying to get adjusted to being a light being, but I couldn't quite get adjusted. It was woozy and kind of staggery and dizzy and that stuff. But it was slowly filling those spaces with light. Because in the end, in awakening, the body mind continuum is transformed, transmuted to even the cellular level. Your cells are no longer like solid little cells filled with little thoughts and feelings and evaluations of your brothers, sisters, your family, and yourself, the world. politicians, you name it. And we're releasing, we're letting go of all that. And that opens up your interior to this form where you actually become an embodied Christ or Buddha, or become a light being, because you're converting from a physical object to a light being. And and as you're doing it, you got a foot in both worlds, heaven and earth. So then you're kind of like woozy until it stabilizes and you actualize into a light being, a light body. Well, I can't say if it's a light body, it's a light being. And one of the steps along the way is turning awareness upon itself. And I talked a little bit about that last week, is seeing through the seer and being free. Because when you turn awareness on itself, that means you're turning around to look back at the projector. Where are all these images coming from? Where's the light coming from? Well, it's coming from, so to speak, above your head, from the great ray, the groundless ground, from God's source. But you're retracing the light, the images back to source. And you turn awareness back on awareness, you see where they're coming from, and you're no longer that for a moment, and then later it helps you see through the delusion of the solid objects, because you're looking back at your true nature, your emptiness, well, anyway. You're seeing through the seer, it's called, or you're looking at the one who is looking. And that, as we awaken, the two eyes momentarily will stop till you see that clear light. Then when they come back, where I'm seeing two-ness, it's just a routine that occurs. Because people will go, wait, I've been practicing, but how come I just fell back into some old habits? Well, it's because these old habits just are very ingrained, and you never know when you might be triggered by something. And that's when we then come back to our awareness and our feelings. Uh-oh, what was I just thinking about? And what was I just feeling? And you come back to that awareness, and you let go, let be, and you do your forgiveness work on whatever that was. Because you're having to remember what your true nature is. Oh, I think I said is that the Son of God wanted to have fullness, movement, and fluidity. Maybe I didn't finish that sentence. Because I originally said he didn't want to experience love. But I realize now the Son of God wanted to experience was fullness, movement, and fluidity. Because in this sterile purity, there's no movement, no change, and no movement. So fluidity means things are coming and going. You get a bunch of images and sensations, fluidity. And fullness means when you releasing these thoughts of separation within all the cells of the mind body continuum, and you leave open space that the light comes in and fills. As that light fills your form and mind, you feel full. You'll feel full once in a while, and you feel whole. You'll feel complete. You may even feel grounded. Yeah, and you may feel like you're a conduit. That's your vessel's a direct conduit between source and this physical realm. You'll have various insights, revelations, um, glimpses, and you just don't want to uh, take it as full awakening or full enlightenment, because it's glimpses. It's called, what's it called? Premature immaculation, where you get stuck thinking, oh, I've awakened. I got this down. Because it just keeps getting deeper and deeper subtler and subtler, fuller and fuller, just of the fullness feeling. You want to feel full of the Spirit of God. But then he fell asleep because he fell in love with an object. Yeah, fell in love with his own separate body, probably, and then fell in love with another object and quit thinking about God. mine got mine got possessed with thinking about objects. Over enough time, he forgot about God and forgot what he was. Forgot he was a light being experiencing the human form. So we're having to really you're retracing the fall from grace. It's that you're ascending back up the ladder. And Jesus said that distance of the fall would be too great and you couldn't span it if it wasn't for my presence, because he's pulling you. He's helping pull you up that the ladder we fell down into that root chakra of egoic fight or flight, self and object, two-ness. Wasn't any union, no inner being, no interdependence, no interconnectedness. We're not all in this together. No, it's me, out for me. I got to get all my stuff I can. For the heck with you guys, whatever you get, that's fine. Stay away from me and don't come get my stuff. You know, well, I mean, a whole culture. And then it's a city pride. Then it becomes a state pride or a country pride, a country against a country. Oh, I got this. I'm not sharing that. I don't even know. I mean, it just wow, spirals out of control. But you're undoing these thoughts of separation. You're reconditioning, deconditioning your mind back to its natural state. All right, let's see what my notes. Where are my now notes? Page 1, page 2. Oh, on the 23rd, a Tuesday. See, I'm not really in any order here, or is that was a Thursday, 423. What to get to this Sunday and Monday and Tuesday of feeling of being able to rest in beingness within the heart cave. On Thursday, when I was walking around, I automatically felt I was being with everything without having to think about it. Because usually to be with everything or be with the clear light, I would think about, oh, God's presence is here, and I'd pause and be with the clear light. See, I would be thinking about it. Or I would visualize the clear light of God that's here now, that's descended and within my form now, the clear light of God's presence. But on Thursday, what happened? I was able to be with everything without thinking about it or visualizing anything. I was naturally just being with everything. And see, that has progressed from when I didn't know what being meant to little seconds of being to minutes of it, and now it's moment to moment, just moment to moment beingness. So I searched A Course in Miracles for the words being and as it is. And Jesus sure covers those words, because see, in Dzogchen it says, see it as it is, leave it as it is, be as is. And Jesus talks about as it is in different places. And did I underscore where those? Okay, he tells you to return. This is Jesus. Well, talking about Holy Spirit. He tells you to return your whole mind to God because it has never left him. If it has never left him, you need only perceive it as it is to be returned. The full awareness of the atonement, then, is the recognition that the separation never occurred. Now, see, that's what I'm saying to you. If you look at your TV and go, there's nothing to see and no one's seeing anything. And you will sit and contemplate that, you'll realize, hold it, that stuff doesn't exist. Those actors on that screen, they don't exist. That TV's not there. That table's not there. This living room's not here. Then you get to my body's not here. This world isn't. Because this becomes an acceptance, an allowing, a release of this. And you're not doing this to scare yourself. That's not it. You're accepting. That's the whole course. He's right there. He says, the full awareness of the atonement is the recognition the separation never occurred. Well, the separation is two-ness, separate subject and objects. These images don't exist and don't mean a squat. Jesus says it. Nothing means anything. You give everything the meaning it's got. Well, it doesn't mean anything because it doesn't exist. It is not there. But it's a hologram. We still can appreciate it. We never put our body in harm's way. But that's the awakened state. Now, what else did I want to do? I have said before that the Holy Spirit perceives conflict exactly as it is, and it is meaningless. And because it's meaningless, it's not understandable. So don't try to understand the conflict. It doesn't mean anything. You cannot be vigilant for anything but God and his kingdom. The only reason you may find this hard to accept is because you may still think there's something else out there. See, he's trying to say there's nothing else out there. Be vigilant only for God. Well, how do you see God? Well, God's this clear light, this spaciousness, like looking at the sky. I forgot to write that down. One time when I looked in my mind, I never seen such a soft blue screen. And I immediately thought, whoa, that's like the blue sky. It just has some clouds and some rain showers that just come and go on it. But he's saying here, vigilant only for God. And that is this vast spaciousness, vast openness. It's called translucent, transparent, pure, clearness, all kinds of, whatever those words you want to use. We find it hard to accept because we still think there's something else. We still think there's something else than God. There's only God. Let's see. Didn't start till a few more minutes, so I'm going on here for a second. Then I found where he talks about fullness. Remember, I said the Son of God created the physical universe for these reasons of fullness, movement, and fluidity. Fullness. Okay, here's the deal. Being must be extended. That is how it retains the knowledge of itself. Spirit yearns to share its being as its creator did. It wills to extend his being. See, that's this beingness, this isness, just beingness. The extension of God's being is spirit's only function. Its fullness cannot be contained any more than can the fullness of its creator. Fullness is extension. The ego's whole thought system blocks extension and thus blocks your only function. It therefore blocks your joy so that you perceive yourself as unfulfilled. Unless you create, you are unfulfilled, but God does not know unfulfillment, and therefore you must create. I won't get into all that, but naturally, this groundless ground, the origin of all things, is always making and creating all these images. But they're fleeting, they're impermanent, they just come and go if we leave them alone. So they're just there for our enjoyment, just for this visual seeing of them, maybe the hearing of them, just the experiencing of them was its purpose, just the taste of it without labeling, sorting, evaluating, all that, just tasting, just hearing, just smelling, just thinking. See, you can still think, just thinking, but you're aware of thought and you're aware of no thought. The kingdom is forever extending because it is in the mind of God. You do not know your joy because you do not know your own self, capital S self, fullness. Exclude any part of the kingdom from yourself, and you are not whole. A split mind cannot perceive its fullness and needs the miracle of its wholeness to dawn upon it and heal it. This reawakens the wholeness in it and restores it to the kingdom because of its acceptance of wholeness. So, see, it's saying your own self fullness, if you exclude any part of the kingdom from yourself, you are not whole. That's why I'm asking at the end of the day, do the two piles of stones, white stones, black stones. Which judgments have you made? Whatever judgments you've made that day, that's holding those people separate from you. You can't feel your fullness. You aren't letting go to unblock some more cells and stuff within your form for Holy Spirit to fill them with light. I mean, it's pretty simple, but we don't practice. We're not aware we're doing this stuff. So therefore, we're just asleep, just still doing the same old habits, same old judging. It's just very difficult to get out of that rut. But if you weren't here listening to me, you want to get out of the rut. You want to get out of that gerbil running on that wheel of that same old habit of judging your brothers, good, bad, equal, unequal, dark, light. Your self fullness, capital S self, not the small s self, is as boundless as God's. Like his, it extends forever and in perfect peace. Its radiance is so intense that it creates imperfect joy, and only the whole can be born of its wholeness. So when you're sitting and resting in the heart cave, just your breath, in and out breath, just feel the expansion and the contraction of your breath. And then just take your awareness to go out through old planet Earth, then go out to the edges of the universe. That's how it is, folks. That's wholeness. You're expanding and contracting and interconnected, interbeing with everything as the light that you are. You're created out of the light, generated out of the light, and liberated back to the clear light. And within a split second, that's why nothing exists. It automatically generates and liberates. It's just a magic show. I sure appreciate you all coming out. Oh, I hope I got some things out. And you can get your toolkit. I'm going to make a note. I made a list of toolkit items, and I said I was going to send them out again, and I was going to make a note to do that, the toolkit, because we need to, that's cleaning up your mind body continuum during the day. But when you feel that nervous, or like I started to feel like, oh, it's spinning, these thoughts were spinning. Oh man, I've never felt thoughts spinning before, and feelings, they were just spinning because they were spinning in spaciousness. It was like, whoa, whoa, I know enough. Whoa, I got to let this stuff go. I got judgments floating around. A lot of them are sticking. See, there's a Teflon side of the mind, that's the left brain. And there's a sticky flypaper side, that's the right thinking brain, where you're sticking. You're sticking to a thought and another thought to it and another thought. You're sticking beads, moments and moments, and thought, making a rosary out of things that are individual moment, breath, moment, breath, moment, breath, just spontaneously present to what's showing up in front of your face and in your mind, and responding accordingly. It's not that we sit around doing nothing. That's not it at all. Your awareness knows what to do, knows what to say or do. And like, I could have read those emails and thought, oh, that was it. One of my reactions in the past when I'm just quitting. I mean, this is crazy. Why am I dealing with this? I'm retired. I'll just quit. So then you're responding as needed. That's sort of like when the ocean, when there's wind, there's waves. When there's no wind, there's no waves out in the ocean. It's just still. So it's the ocean's not out there making the waves. That it's the wind. The wind is, I forget, gravity's probably doing something, but The ocean's not out there making the waves. We end up making waves because we take impermanent, inanimate, meaningless things and we start gluing them together and evaluating them. Isn't that wild? We become a victim of our own magic show. We're a victim. That's the other thing. Oh, the big deal is you become liberated from your own victimization. You're aware of your thoughts and feelings and not falling victim to them and not suffering and having misery. You know, I mean, to our own, we're victimizing our own self with our own thoughts, feelings, and sensations. Okay, I'll close with that. So, any thoughts, comments, or questions before I stop the recording? I can't tell you how much I appreciate each and every one of you coming out. I love each of you so much. Oh, your presence just helps me so. There's God Ed, God Jerry, God Angela, God Danelle, God Dee, God Julia. There was Lynn, God Lynn, God Glenda. Thank you, thank you, thank you for coming out this evening. So
Thank you,
beautiful.
Glenda, and happy birthday. Happy belated birthday. And I'm so grateful for your commitment to your process of awakening and sharing that with us. And I'm really grateful for this community and everybody who shows up
Oh,
for that, because I know this is our common goal, and we're all doing it together. We're here for each other to witness all
walk
this
each other home.
experience. Yeah. And
Yes.
prayers out to Barbie and her husband, who we heard from this week, and I hope they're all doing really well and
Oh,
having
I
a
haven't heard from her. Okay,
recovery.
let's take a moment and send
Yeah.
out
Thank you.
our awareness to Barbie and her husband and to any one of your family members or yourselves or anyone that listens to this later or a whole world it's got some war zones and stuff. All and any people that aren't in a war zone, they're suffering because they're going up and down with this emotional roller coaster. Now, what I want to also express is I turned 75. So anybody thinks that they can't awaken, it's too late for me. I can't do it. If I can do it, anybody can do it. I mean, really. This mainly started at age 69 when I found the Holy Spirit brought Dzogchen. But anyway, let's sit with that awareness, sending out to Barbie and her husband and to each and every person that needs this, needs help. Just our pause. See, that pause is a gap between thoughts. In that pause is this clear light. Well, though even in thoughts there's clear light, but anyway, we're sending clear light, the love of God, the peace and calmness of God to Barbie and her husband, all those that and we all need it. We all are interconnected and want this peace and love. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording.